snake, viper, serpent, turncoat, snake, traitor, serpent, viper, turncoat, ophidian, traitor, ophidian, serpent, snake, viper, snake, viper, serpent, turncoat, snake, traitor, serpent, viper, turncoat, ophidian, traitor, ophidian.
I think for me, it meant everything, which is really... It's hard to say it meant everything, because how does everything justify it? How can it mean everything to somebody? But I mean, it became my world. I was writing it for 2 years, and it became my escape from everything. It was like my own secret that I could run away to. Because it came from feeling like I didn't belong, or that I wasn't wanted. And I think that's something that a lot of people feel in this day and age. And I mean, I scoured poems, movies, books, poetry for somebody who I could recognise was also going through my same situation. And I just felt that I couldn't, so I turned and wrote my own to feel a little bit less alone, to feel like I had a friend that understood. And I mean, it was wild. I never could have dreamt of what it could become. I mean, we're almost a year out from publication, and practically 3 years now from the beginning of the writing process, which is insane. And kind of in anticipation to Footage Before Forgetting, I was rereading some of the poems and could still see a lot of myself in them. I mean, I've said that throughout, and always it is about my life and my experiences. Of course, there's others sprinkled in, or it relates back to a movie or a show that I was inspired by. But at the end of the day, it was me at my core. It's everything I felt during that time. And I think during it, I found it hard to separate the two, like some poets often do. But it's very confessional poetry, as you'll know if you read it.
Members of Your Majesty the jury, I stand before you as a man who has been done unjust service. Into summation, my foes have entered into evidence of plurry. The stand is a horrid collage of caricatures, who for years have been plotting raging revenge, whose ideologies date back to the Stone Age. My dreams, like different to his, so therefore were unimportant. From swimming in a dreamscape to drowning amongst a tidal wave, unicorns smuggle seaborne, recalling a time when tapestries weren't torn. So I ask you to question everything you know. To fall down one too many rabbit holes, is it truly heartbreak if you're letting yourself down with a sprinkle of betrayal? You get bigger and better, older and sober, but I'll stand and shatter, and my shiny edges will glisten on those stages, breaking down for people's amusement, taking life advice from a bear whilst I fall into a stranger's bed. Butterfly wings form a mangled chain around his wringing neck. Padded walls, no one calls, seasonal withdrawals. Clocks ticked, bones picked, with flesh that's flicked, rain banged against the window, as if it was trying to break in with the gale force winds. Not even my moon could bear witness. Were there good times? Hair holds memories, so I bleached it, cut off my nose just to spite my face, burned the holy ground. Like a game of chess, I followed your pardigans, but it wasn't enough. I wasn't enough for the tonic triad of melancholic men. A can of empty paint thinner laid next to an extinguished match on broken marble tiles and a chipped porcelain skin. The room was quiet, the air suffocatingly still. I took a razor to the mirror. The stranger didn't shiver. A high-pitched ring echoes through the ghost house, the reconjecting of false twin flames, tainted tattooed scarlet letters. It's left for the banshee to answer. The boss is calling, asking if the job is done. Spiral, spiral, spiral down a tornado-like slide. Will it ever end? Mood swings to change with the tide, clutching onto a precipice of air. The glass coffin slowly subsided. Unchosen ingenue lifeline. This town, this pig-like body, single-handedly removed myself from the bloodline with nothing but woven braids. A gladiator to the world, I became a king. I longed to return to that lifetime. Before the light fades, the sea urchin uncovered the pages that lay with Alexandria, sinking down to Davy Jones's locker. A chapter. That's all I am. At most, a couple of pages, Absence makes the heart grow fonder, Lunica gives tinnitus, dementia. I pawned my soul off to boys who didn't want it, sold my essence on every corner of the internet and my dignity to the highest bidder. Adjusting to daylight savings and bread and water diets, spending spree like Marie Antoinette, while living like a woman of the night. Where does one cross the line just to get by? My happiness is left in deficit. I'll get the credit for a misattributed title.
It's 5/5. Today is the Serpent Says release day. So we're going to celebrate. To me. Because I did it. I actually did it. There we go.
To love you in a blazing corn maze sparks something unconditional. Moths gnaw away happiness, phantoms die from second-hand embarrassment. Flowers grow in darkness, the monster within haunts Loch Ness, tied down to a bathtub. Toasters are a caveman's modern-day club. I adored you in a corn maze. To you I was an unnecessary phase. Teenage treason, the fridge doesn't have a reason. Bottles are a gateway to Eden. You cause this God-forsaken feeling.
It arrived. Unboxing. It's packaged very poorly. Just.
A movie opener and a scene stealer. Press ran the story entailing your drug dealer, a girl who couldn't survive the blame. Needles are torture devices injecting shame. Cursing your face because I can't recall your name. Forget the rivers of gold you showered in a waterfall of fame. Singing like Marilyn Monroe, all the sentences were wrapped up in a tiny purple bow. She'll love you like a flower or bee, a perfect malicious minx. Marriage is a foreign word with almost no power, thrown out of the slammer, locked away in a tower. And yet I stand here in my chain of arm, grieving from the loss of a phantom heart. I swung the sword, built up a wall of awards. She walked away from it all.
Kind of didn't pick up the guitar and was just writing words on a page, and it became the first poem, which is Empty Canvas, which to me has two meanings, but it doesn't matter what it means to me, because in my opinion it's how you take on the poem and it's who you put it to. It's not who I wrote it about, which was the first question that I get asked a lot of when somebody reads a poem, is who's this about, or what's this about.
Entering his inner circle is a dangerous game. Tattoo ink is engraved in the shape of your name. If he loves you, then you'll outlive Saturn. Etched into great texts is where you'll remain until the sun explodes. Haunting the libraries of time, students will study how your freckles align, the sound of your laughter, the crookedness of your smile. You'll wonder if life was ever worthwhile.
I mean, as I was saying, I was rereading them while making Footage Before Forgetting, and you're brought right back into all of that feeling and the muddiness of it, and the hurt, the pain, and sometimes anger. But they do say time is a great healer, and I agree with that to one sense and don't on the other hand, because when I started presenting the finished copy of my book to kids, to adolescents, to adults, it all felt still very fresh. I mean, I remember watching interviews of artists who had made their work and gone, it's not mine anymore. Yes, it's my story, but it's ultimately the fans, or it's the critics, or it's the muses. And I remember holding my book and just going, no, this is so intrinsically mine. I couldn't imagine saying that it was somebody else. Even though I wrote it on the first page. But yeah, I remember sitting there and just going, it's it's mine and it will never be anybody else's. And I remember telling that to people, and I was like, I disagree with these people who were saying it. And now that so much time has passed, I mean, yes, I look back and I can remember the exact moment when I wrote this particular poem and why I felt this and what actions led to it, gathering my evidence. But it does no longer feel like mine, which is a really weird thing. Is I kind of can relate to the people who have said that, and that's a really weird thing. But I think, yes, time is a great healer, and I've lived so much life since last May when it was released. So I think moving into this next chapter has developed that feeling and enthralled a new one. And I have been pondering about why that is. So I think it means that we're moving on to something new, which I think is always very exciting. We'll just be wandering through and hoping for the best. But this whole project has been my footage before forgetting, so that no matter how much time passes or what happens in the future or when it happens, or maybe I'll never do anything again, but I'll always have the Serpent's hiss. It will outlive me, and it will outlive its stories, and will outlive the people that read it for the first time. It'll always be around, hopefully, for anybody who ever needs it. Because I mean, that's what it was there for. I didn't write it for necessarily just me. I didn't care if 100 people read it. I didn't care if 10 people read it. I didn't care if I was the only person that read it, because it was made for me. But living the life it's lived, it's really had a great life, which I think is very exciting, and people have related to poems and felt a little bit less alone, which is why I did it, so I could feel alone. Less alone. So I could feel less alone. And in turn then people have felt less alone, and that means so much more than I think you'll ever know.